Hello, welcome to Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream. I'm Lotra's community manager, Cordovan, and I'll be with you for the next hour, answering some questions. We'll front load a little bit of news. I don't have a lot of news that you don't already know about, but I'll be kind of recapping what's going on so you'll get a good sense of what's happening in Lotra and what will be happening here in the near future. I'll be showing off some of the new Spring Festival rewards on an admin character, and then I'm going to be heading over, if there's any time left, to just a play character on Crick Hollow and maybe continue the story of Before the Shadow, or take a look at the Spring Festival. I guess we'll kind of see how I feel when we get there. So that's where we are right now. Welcome, everyone. Hope you're having a good Friday. It's nice to be here. We have a lot going on. So the first thing I would mention is the Spring Festival. That kicked off yesterday, and that runs through March 27th, and that shuts off at 3 a.m. Eastern on the 28th. So basically, as the 27th turns into the 28th, spring officially ends. We have a guide up on lotra.com. I can drop a link to that real quick in chat. If you do want to check it out, this was the guide from that was debuted last year, but it's hopefully will get you a good sense of what you can do, how to get there, and things like that. The other main guide is the community guide, I think, and that's from Fibro Jedi, and I know that he's got some of the new rewards, including some images and all that. So community, as always, takes care of this regardless of what we do, and can offer maybe some kind of tips and tricks and behind the scenes, like this is what you should really do sort of stuff that wouldn't maybe fit into a regular guide. So lots of good community stuff out there. Now I know there's a special production going on. Let me make sure I called it up. I didn't put that up on my Twitter feed yet. Let me make sure I get that right. But we've got a group of players who are doing something particularly interesting, a 30-person adaptation of Stephen Sondheim's Into the Woods, and they're putting that together this weekend as well. There was a article on massivelyop.com that I would call your attention to. That might be something cool to check out as well. That sounds pretty wild. So good luck to all the players involved in that, and that should be really neat. So congratulations to everybody there. We had a patch this week. Let me quick call up the release notes to see if there's something I should mention there. You can find the release notes on lotra.com. It was mostly about getting the Spring Festival ready to launch on Thursday, but there was a little bit of class work, a little bit of item work, localization, and a few odds and ends as well, including an update to the featured instance rotation. We do have one known issue that I should mention, and that is with the Spring Festival. So in the Splendor of Spring, that's the wrapper quest, it's currently missing its Tracery Token Legendary Reward. This is going to be fixed with the next game update, currently scheduled for March 21st. Now the reason that date matters is, other than I think some people are suspecting that might be when Update 35 will be released, is that it gives... For the most part, this bug should be not much of an issue, because in order to complete that quest to get the token, you got to do a whole bunch of work, and it's possible to get it done before the 21st, but not too likely. So just complete it after March 21st and you'll be fine. As long as you complete it after March 21st, you should get that additional reward. Something to be aware of. But generally it was something like isn't it like 12 days or something like that? So pretty much if you go right away and do everything possible, you'll be pretty close to the 21st there. Just kind of hang off a little bit before you complete that one, and then you'll get your reward. But that's something that we're going to be doing with at the very least, a patch on March 21st. And we'll have more information about the formal release date for Update 35 as we get a bit closer to it. I'm not committing us to Update 35 on the air here. I'm just saying that March 21st we will have a patch at the very least. There is a possibility that we'll have a Bull Roar update next week, but it's not guaranteed. It's currently in a fairly tentative state, so we'll have more information on that on the Bull Roar forums next week as we sort of work through the process and figure out whether we're going to have another Bull Roar or not. Otherwise, for news, what else should I mention? On the kind of store side, before the shadow, yeah, before the shadow, that's this guy. And what we've been running lately is now available for Lotro points. It's available in the Lotro store. So, for those of you who have been waiting, now is your moment to pick up Before the Shadow and check it out. I noticed that there's a charity event coming up that I've been seeing on social media by Perwethian and others, a chicken run for charity that'll be taking place on March 26th. That's going to be noon Eastern. It's also going to be all over Twitch. They're doing a thing to raise money for the Sanctum House, which you can read more about on their stuff. It's a shelter of as I understand it. And they're going to be doing all of the chicken run quests on Arkenstone and Evernight. So if you're interested in that, I guess I could quick link here to the Twitter post, which is where it was called to my attention. But I have also been in touch with Perwethian, and we're going to be donating some points and a few codes to that effort as well. I think that I've pretty much covered the news. Let me just make sure there's nothing else I really wanted to call out. And let me get to your questions as well. All right. What do we have? No, I am not aware of any intention to offer the XP Disabler pocket item available in the Lotro market through the Before the Shadow bundles there separately for Lotro points. We could theoretically do that perhaps in the future, but if we did, we'll let you know. That's not something that's currently on our schedule that I'm aware of. I think if you don't catch the memo, which by the way, I think it's in the launcher. It will be in the launcher if it's not in the launcher, but I think it's in the launcher because I think I put it there yesterday. But if you don't catch it on the launcher or social media or here or the forums or elsewhere, and you do complete that quest, then yes, you're not going to get your tracery token. So yes, I do have the tracery token reward in the launcher too. And I'm working to get it localized in French and German. And that will go up as soon as that is possible. All right. No, the intention is not to then strip out all of the goodies from the bundles and offer them separately for Lotro points in the store. That is not the intention of offering the base package in the Lotro store for points. The bundles will remain available for the foreseeable future, and you are welcome to, if you're interested in those goodies, to take a look at the Lotro market and purchase one of those bundles. But the intention is not to sort of strip them all out and put them all in the Lotro store for points. I'm not sure what you mean, X4711. I would need to dig a little bit more into what you mean about the per server XP disabler. Is it just a one per account grant? Is that what you're talking about? Well, it wasn't as far down in the list when I posted it yesterday. But if there is a concern Tanless, I will make sure to bump it up through the weekend. So that it's right up there when you log in. The thing about the launcher newsfeed is every time I add something to it, I have to reconsider layout. And I do somewhat flip it around, but for the most part I try to keep it mostly chronological. I find that tends to work best. Okay, well it sounds like that one item was intentionally released as a one per account item. Sorry about that. I am quick looking at something and see what else I can talk about. Okay. Oh, let me drop a link in chat. I'm going to be putting this out elsewhere, but I want to do it kind of cautiously and carefully due to sizing. But we have a community meetup happening in the Boston area on Thursday, March 23rd. It's going to run from 6 to 9 p.m. at Lucky's Lounge, and that's located near the Boston Convention Center on the Thursday evening of PAX East. Um, on the Dungeons and Dragons Online side, we're actually doing a panel presentation at PAX East, talking about how some of the DDO game developers build dungeons live, essentially digging into our instant space creation, both creatively and otherwise, the process too, during a panel. And then that evening, we're having a meetup. So, yeah, it is a DDO focused sort of event. And we had a certain number of people that we were allowed to have into the community meetup venue. So when we started the RSVP process, I wanted to make sure that the DDO people, frankly, got the first crack at it before I knew whether we had room to expand it to the wider general public who might be interested. Maybe you play both games. Maybe you just want to hang out with SSG peeps. And maybe you like Lotro, and I'll have a little bit of old, but not that old swag with me as well. I might have some leftovers from Germany, which means if I can get them, might mean before the shadow shirts. But I don't know. I don't know how many of those we got left. I need to ask first. Regardless, there will be some swag there, and you are welcome to attend. If you're at PAX East already and you want to hang out with some SSG peeps, get some free food, free beverage, you do have to be over the age of 21. This is a bar, and it does require that every patron be over the age of 21. So if you're with your underage kids, unfortunately, you're kind of stuck. You can't get through. Well, you can get through the door, but your kids are going to have to wait outside, and they ain't going to work. So, you know what I mean. But if you want to go, if you're in the area, if you're attending PAX East, if you want to hang out with us SSG peeps, pick up some swag and a little bit of snacks. Snack style food. It's like more kind of like trays of finger foods and things like that. So not like a full sit down meal or something like that. But we're ordering a pretty large amount of food, and we've got room. We've got room for you. So please, if you're interested, do RSVP. If it becomes an issue, if all of a sudden me saying this over on the Lotra side means that we suddenly have more people than we can fit in the space, then I'll have to shut off RSVPs and get back to folks. But as it currently stands, we're well within our limits of attendance. I think, this is the first time we've done a community meetup since pre-COVID. Last one except for the trip to Germany on the Lotra side. But, so I guess we did that. But in the United States here, at least in the Boston area, the last one was in 2020 and was a really fun community meetup at a restaurant. And I think people had a good time there. But this will be our first time doing this in quite some time. And so maybe a few people are shy about coming out. So we had to kind of figure out how many might show up. And it was a little tricky because you never quite know. It's like, well, could we get a couple hundred? We have. But are we likely to? Probably not. And so, we're sort of basing it around the size of the venue, which is something like 75. And that includes some of us. But we're well within that limit right now. So if you think you'll be in the area and want to hang on out, fill out that RSVP this afternoon. There's no formal deadline. But, it's could potentially start filling up a little more quickly, especially if I do something like post about it in the Lotra forums, which I probably will do in the near future. So this is sort of an opportunity to get in now if you're interested. So, all right, let me get back to some questions here before I move in game. So if I have BTS shirts to give, I will definitely be bringing them with me. I don't know that I have BTS shirts to give. I know that we had some left over after I left Germany, but we also gave them then to some employees who previously were not able to get them because we had made them for that. So I need to check to see what the current status of available sizes and availability are on the shirts. So, but I think so. I think there are some left, and I will definitely bring them if there are. So. Are we ever going to see an increase on the cap for Ancient Script? That is a very good question. I don't have an answer for you today. I certainly can't make a promise one way or the other that it either will never nor will be happening. So it's a difficult question to answer in that I don't have a good answer for you. I know that there are folks who would like to see us increase that cap, and so perhaps in the future that is something we could consider. Please fix the animation of Purge Poison on Hunter and make instant. And second, can you please put Festival Steeds, Elks, and Goats for Lotro points in the store? That is perhaps something we could do in the future. I assume, are you talking about things that are currently available for the Mithril Barter and you would rather them just be straight in the store? Or are you talking about things that used to be in the Mithril Barter, now are not, and you want those things in the store? The Boston area. Hey, go stop by Dunkin's on your way in and your way out and where you park. And when you're getting at least 2 or 3 times on your way to your destination. Have we seen any extraordinary performance issue? This person is reporting some lag worse in previous days. No. I'm not aware of anything on the Lord of the Rings Online side that would cause a particular difficulty and lag. This week for maintenance, we did actually do some extended maintenance. We rebooted some pieces of the environment that normally don't always get rebooted because they don't need to. So it's possible maybe you were seeing an immediate effect of that, but I don't know for sure. I guess that's about all I can say about that right now. I know that we do have an engineer that's engineers, at least one, that's continuing to work on game performance for all games and is making improvements here in the near future. And will continue to do so. So we do have some work related to lag in general that'll be happening. You'll see that in the release notes on Bullroar and hopefully on live with a good impact if possible. So X4711 basically says, have we considered using like AMD's something called FSR technology to essentially take a low resolution image and use it an upscaler with our user interface? Essentially, could we take our low res UI elements and by utilizing some tool by AMD or another upscaler type company, can we upscale it to 4K? Yes. I mean, no, I don't know about that specific technology. But the general idea of rather than having to redo all elements of an older game's user interface, could we instead upscale them? The answer is yes. In some cases you can. In some cases it works, and in some cases it really, really doesn't. I think that if we were to be able to do an extensive UI update, it would probably be through a combination of scaling and creation of new. But yeah, I think it probably would involve at least some scaling tech. It is true, however, also that right now, just a raw scale of our user elements, were we to be able to take like the general user interface bits and blow them up to what would probably be a 4K acceptable resolution, they just don't look quite right now. And that's one of the hang-ups on being able to do that work, is it's a big project, even if you were to use something like a third-party software tool to assist with the process. It would still be a pretty big process. It's something that is on our minds. We have talked about it previously and we'll continue to talk about it in the future, and hopefully at some point we'll have news to share about it, but at this point I really just do not. So yes, Hut, first time chatter. Yes, I'm not a developer in that I don't make content for the game, but I am the community manager of the Lord of the Rings Online, and I do work for Standing Stone Games, which is the developer of Lotro. When can we get more carryalls? I have asked just this week. I may have said, hey, you know what we need to do? We need to put carryalls in the store or something for a while, and we'll see what may come of that. But yes, I'm aware that you and I have interest and access to more carryalls, so hopefully we can make some progress there. Tanless, I have, you're asking some kind of feature suggestion questions about making it easier to uh, have more time on the items posted to the auction house. I have not heard of any intention to adjust really the auction house user interface. Let me get my camera up here. What happened to my camera? Why is my camera gone? There we are. Before I start typing in admin commands, let me cover up my chat window. Sorry. Alright. I am on an actual admin character. This is on Landreval. You can see I've got actual Cordovan up here. And the reason I have this character up is I spawned a bunch of stuff from the Spring Festival that we can take a look at. So to start with, I thought maybe we would just look at the cloak. And I've got that set up. I believe I set that up for Cosmetic Outfit 1. I did. So here you go. You can kind of see it, and then I will put it on the character here as well. Oops. This is the new cloak from the Spring Festival. And there's a hooded version as well that I will also put on. You can take a look at kind of the hooded version as well. And I've got a Tome of the White Puppy. These are all Spring Festival barter rewards. Let's see, where did I put that white puppy? Is that not? Probably did not. There we are. There we go. There's our white puppy. Hello, doggy. It's nice to see you. In case you wonder where I am actually at my kind of weird house over on Landreval. I've got a mead hall set up on Landreval. It's open to the general public, but it's probably been a few years since we were really over here. But the intention is this is just kind of a housing area where I've got permissions generally set for anyone to mess with if you just want to check something out. And the reason is there's a whole bunch of housing items as well that we're going to get to. But before I do that, we also have the Tome of the Adorable Sicklefly. Now, this one is available through the Spring Festivity barter rather than the Festival barter there. And there's also a Cosmetic Shield, which I suppose I should put on the Cosmetic Shield here as well. I can show you that. Oh, I don't actually have a shield proficiency on this character to be able to equip the shield, so sorry. I guess I didn't think ahead on that one. But we do have a new Cosmetic Shield here as well. And here's the Sicklefly. Stingy. What? It's really called Snookums? Really? Really? Alright. I don't have anything new to share about the crafting update today. I apologize. I'm just looking at chat quick. With classes damage constantly going up, is there a chance we could see enemies have the morale raised at lower levels so we aren't just one-shotting everything? Yes, I do think it's possible we would see an adjustment of morale as necessary. Although I would also say that, remember, if we're talking about a low-level experience, generally, well, you're right, maybe there should be some challenge, and that's always a tricky thing. It is going to be deliberately a little bit of a easier section of the game. So I don't know that, depending on what low you mean for low, how much we want to make it particularly challenging. But sure. I don't have a Steam Deck either. I will say that I have seen Reddit posts and Steam forum posts and forum posts claiming that Lotro basically runs fine on the Steam Deck. I have not tried it myself. If you would like to, no, I don't even want you to give me a Steam Deck. But I don't have one, so I can't test myself. I would have to look up to see when the last time we did a Mithril coin sale was. I don't actually know that myself. I could say that I would be surprised if it's been all that long, but I could be wrong. What do I know? I would need to look at the calendar and kind of backdate it. Alright, I'm going to get rid of the sickle fly for now. Get the doggy back out. Alright. Can I just... There we go. So let's put the teapot out just so you can kind of take a look at it. Oh, return to owner. Yeah. That is sort of the thing about this house, is it's set so that really anyone can place anything, even just a guest. I don't really use it a lot for that, although we could theoretically use it as a hangout at some point in the future. But the general intention of this is just to be an open place where I can spawn things like this on the stream to show off the new housing items and do a bit like that. And I haven't used this thing in a while, so I admit that it's a little rusty. Here's the Roaring Bull Inn signpost. Wait, I should actually try to get some better lighting in here too. I had lighting at one point, but I'm not quite sure. Some of this could go outside though as well. I should maybe go outside first and see about what I can do there. Let me do that real quick, just for a little bit better lighting. And yes, I am setting my Hobbit run speed too fast. There we go. All right. There we go. That's better. Roaring Bull signpost. We've got the small grove of flowering spring trees. Look pretty nice. and variations therein. Ooh, that looks nice and light, doesn't it? Trying to get a better... There we go. The icon needs to get fixed? Yeah. Okay, I will make a note of that. I don't know exactly who comes up with the names. I don't know if somewhere on the inside of the team they've got a big name list. I know that, you know, Chris Pearson often vets and creates long lists of lore appropriate names that then get selected from. So in some ways I think it's a group effort in terms of who picks the names, but I believe on an individual level it would probably just be the developer doing the work. I do not currently, because of the way this is set up, have an admin camera, so I can't detach it. The difference is that I need a specific kind of game client in order to be able to detach the camera, and because I'm streaming from home here, I'm just using essentially a regular game client, but logged in as an admin, and I have much more limited permissions as a result. But I do have the ability to spawn and create these items for myself. So, one is oh, I see. That is a large flowering spring tree. That's cool. And we're getting kind of into variants of the large trees here as well, so maybe I'll speed it up a little bit. Large white flowering spring tree. Oh, that one's gonna stay in my yard for a while. Oh, I'm gonna have to get that one. That's cool. That's cool. What else we got? Small Ornorian watchtower. Again, wouldn't really make sense for this space right now exactly, but I'll show it to you anyway. In this space. That's nice and big too. And then we have an Arnorian entryway. And you know, you can kind of rotate and move and do all your stuff with it. So that's pretty sweet too. You can see that being used as an entry to in screenshot location. Whole bunch of things. Real nice. And what can't I spawn? The Ruined Honorian Bridge, I need a huge yard space, so I'll take care of that in a second. And the wall-mounted Shield of New Growth. So yes, let's get to the huge yard space first. Currently being, my enormous yard space is a doggo. Sorry, doggy. You can get back there in a second. You'll like the bridge. You can pee on it or something. All right. Ruined Honorian Bridge. Red Alive, I'm not familiar enough with your bug to really be able to tell you the status of it. You're calling it fix for portraits. I'm imagining there may be an offset portrait or two that you would like to see addressed. Is that what you're talking about? If so, I would need a specific kind of location about what specifically you're talking about. Alright, there we go. This is a wall space, okay. A little hard to see in this light. I need to get some better lighting, I guess. I used to have some kind of table and torches, but I must have gotten rid of it. A little hard to see in this light. Oh, really? You can use the entryway, huh? You can! You can put the entryway right in your house. Nice. Okay, well that's cool. You even put some of these trees in there. Alright, well I think that is actually pretty much shown off what I was going to show. In case you want to see it yourself, and I don't know why you would exactly, this is in 2 Colt Road in Andover, in the Kingstead homesteads of Langerval. I can't really get into the 16th anniversary at this point. I can't really talk too much about our plans yet. We're still in the we're working on them stage. Not quite ready. Sometimes portrait frames cover part of the name and have a small gap between character and frame. The gap may be related to the way that they're put together. I would think also the name might be, especially the more flowery portrait frames might have the potential to eat into text space. The best way to get that to us would be through a bug report through help.standingstonegames.com. Take a screenshot of Control-P by default, shows up in my documents, of the portrait frame issues that you're experiencing, and that way they can look to see like specifically which frame needs to be worked on. You even see it now on my portrait? I have to admit, I don't, I'm not 20 anymore eyes. And so to me, I don't see anything off on my portrait. I guess maybe people with better eyes than me will see it. Either way, that's where we are. All right, let me swap screens here quick, because I'm going to log into a regular play character now, away from my admin. But it might be one of those things where it's there and I just don't see it because I'm not looking in the right place or what have you. So I don't have anything further on timing for any sort of character avatar work that might have been discussed in previous Q&As. As soon as I know more, I'll get that to you. Our focus really next will be on Update 35. In the coming days, I'll be working on our kind of final set of release notes post Bull Roar. We do potentially have a Bull Roar preview next week. It's tentative at this point. And the aforementioned PAX East work will be on my agenda here in the short term. And then very quickly, we're moving into Update 36 and beyond as well, so which in the anniversary and more. So we've got a pretty full schedule. You can actually find our roadmap, which is still the roadmap. It's what we're actually working on, as it were, over on lotra.com, and take a look. Meet Mini Cordovan? Oh, yeah, right. So when I was, just because not everyone knows much about me or whatever. In real life, my name is Jerry Snook, Snook, and that was a thing growing up. That was a thing, among the many things that people would use to tease you and what have you. Last name was one, but I always kind of liked it, so I never had a problem with my name. I never had a problem with much of anything, really, but like they didn't have much power over me, like bullies and stuff. But I used to get snookums all the time as like a pejorative, and that was never very pleasant.
You may be of service to me.
Would you do something for me?
Would you do something for me?
It's one of those things that, like, you don't even think about it.
Stay a moment.
I was like, snookums? Oh my god.
Could I speak with you a moment?
And then, of course, with Jersey Shore, I got a lot of Snooki for a while.
Speak with you a moment?
And then occasionally, if someone is a person who is into fishing, they'll be like, what, you mean like the fish? And it's like, yeah, actually, I do mean like the fish. Yeah, I would imagine the bigger, more full the portrait, obviously, the more danger it has in
Will you give me a moment of your time,
creeping into other text and related space.
Will you give me a moment of your time, friend? Hello there.
And we could just take a look at what we just saw here in the rewards vendor here as well. Cloaks are pretty cheap at, what, 15? There's a gift wrap version as well. On Crick Hollow here, I've never played. This is remember, a brand new character created with the launch of Before the Shadow, so I haven't done any of the Spring Festival ever before. You can see also, of course, there's lots of things from previous rewards also available. I guess I'm not going to go through all 10 pages of the list. You can do that. Also, plenty of guides and what have you have that information as well. So, perhaps find the pictures and everything there. Oh, that's right. So, gosh, is it this? It's this weekend that we move ahead an hour in the United States. So, and Europe is 2 to 3 weeks ahead yet before they get before they get it all. Or they move ahead an hour. So for the next, between now and March 28th or something like that, the timing is going to be weird between the US and Europe. We're only 5 hours offset rather than 6. So I guess maybe for a European, if you see something like 10 Eastern, normally that would be your 4 p.m. And now it'll be your 5 p.m. for the next few weeks only. And that kind of stinks. It's always frustrating. I am a firm believer in getting rid of daylight saving time worldwide. Cordovan getting political. Not that political. Or maybe it is. I remember as a reporter, I used to be a radio news reporter. I did that for about a decade before I was able to get hired here. And one of the things I covered was the legislative debate and vote in the Indiana state legislature when they voted to change time zones and debate whether or not to to join daylight saving time, which ultimately they mostly did. And so, yeah, that was way more political than you'd think. That was nuts. It's intense. People take that stuff seriously. No, that's not the one yet. Where is Methyllus? Which one do I need to go to? I forgot which person I need to take this to. I think it's down here. Yes. Yo, here's your stuff. What? What am I supposed to do? Spring wine. Pick up the spring wine. I thought I already did. Maybe I did it out of order by accident. Yeah. That's fine. Oh, Northeast Table. That's where it was. Now I'm finally seeing it in my stupid quest log. Alright. Let's do that again. Hello, Northeast Table. Is that not these people? No. Is that these people? No. Oh, here we are. No? This is proving less successful than I intended. What the heck am I doing here? Maybe I'll do something else instead to, like, figure this stupid stuff out. Alright. I won't do the dance quite yet. Server. My cat wakes me up early too. Yeah. Oh no, sorry to hear that, Goldwyn. So for years, when I lived in Indiana, they didn't observe daylight saving time, and it was sort of a thing. Where just the time zone never shifted, and then after a very contentious series of debates and legislative maneuverings and things like that, it did finally pass in Indiana, which had largely considered itself Eastern Daylight Time anyway, and made it official, except for a portion up by the Chicago area. They had to split it apart because the state was kind of right on the edge of really the Eastern time zone and the Central time zone of the United States. And so which time zone to go into was also a very contentious debate. It was quite the thing. And there are some indigenous parts of Arizona that still don't observe daylight saving time, and a few other little bits and bobs. I think. Really, did I not?
Could I take a moment of your time?
I didn't do it fast enough. Really? Well, let's get going. Feel like I should have this one. All right, there we go. Yay!
How do you do?
I'm not going to sample the beers on stream here. Let's see. Yeah. Working as intended on that one. All right. So I should... Okay, yeah, to Nathalus's table. Maybe it didn't quite work out because it was... The other one was active. A disorientation, perhaps. Yeah, thanks, Arabani. We did mention that it was going to be available for Lotro points in March, and sometimes that means maybe a little earlier in March, sometimes a little later in terms of like the month. But in this particular case, there really wasn't much competing with it, so we were able to bring it out relatively quickly. We were able to do the work and get it all done. And it is nice, especially because Before the Shadow is... an area that I think we have some low-level people who maybe weren't sure about spending money on an X-Pack, but will be excited to check it out in the Lotro store for points. So, should be cool. It is cool. I love Before the Shadow. I've been having a fantastic time with it. And so, although I am the biased, I think it turned out fantastic. I think we have a lot to be proud of with Before the Shadow as a studio. I would not expect to see festival activities added to Before the Shadow areas. Perhaps some direction in the future to these locations might make sense, but for the most part, our festivals tend to take place in their own sort of specific areas, and we'll grant maps to them. And we do have, things that generally take place in some of our older areas, but we would want it to be very accessible. So I'm not sure that we would add festival quests to something like I guess we have, I'm sure we have, because, one thing about Lotra is there's like an exception to many rules. So I'm sure that there are times, I know there are, I can think of them right now, where we've had some gating going on. But in general, we prefer to have kind of festival things be as widely accessible as possible. So we could... We have a few minutes left in the show. What can I mention? So, I don't know. I guess there's really not too much else. I think I pretty well covered what we got going on here today. So, a lot of cool community events. Oh, I'm tempted, but I can't. I was half tempted to give you a glimpse of the upcoming Lotro forums, but now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, don't do that. You have things you need to do yet. But in the coming weeks, maybe on this show, I can put up a screen of the work in progress Lotro forums, which should be coming here in the pretty near future. I would expect to hear word on that potentially within the next couple months. I personally did bunch of work this past week to get user groups put together. You know, you first signed in, so you're unregistered. Now you're registered. You've been around a long time, etc., etc. I've created the user titling system. I created all the forums, announcements, release notes, general discussion, off topic, all that. I did the full list, including the French and German. So structurally, the forums are looking pretty close to where they're going to end up. We still have like some kind of logos and legal lines and required bits of periphery that need to get done, and a little bit of stylistic work to do yet as well. But for the most part, theoretically, if we had the worlds open today, just all of a sudden, you could sign up and check things out and have a good time with it. And I think they're coming together pretty well. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to give you a sneak peek as to kind of the current state of things. But we're not quite there yet. I mean, it does mostly look there, but when I actually think about it, I'm like, oh no, except you got this to do yet, you got this to do yet, got this to do yet. but it's getting there. It's getting there. I wouldn't expect any major radical changes for the Lotro forums. I have a little bit of naming changes, some suggested by the community, some by edict because I want it. Like, for example, I'm separating out announcements and service news. Service news will be the place to go over things like downtimes and this thing got closed, or this thing isn't doing it, or known issues, things like that. And then announcements tends to be the things like, here's a new dev diary, or the Lotro weekend bonus is X. And I've got a separate section now more explicitly for makers and creators. That would be everyone from YouTubers to Twitch streamers to artists and writers and everyone else. And so hopefully we can get some nice activity going there. All right, well, we're at 1 o'clock, so I think I am going to wrap up the show here today, and we will call it. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here for Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream. The archives do go up on YouTube and Facebook as well. Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching as well. I'll be back next week. I don't have an agenda in mind yet, so we'll kind of play it by ear and see what we end up doing for next Friday's show. But we have got Tolkien Professor up next, and Druid's Fire up after that. You can find our full schedule over on twitch.tv/LotraStream. Thanks so much, everyone, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.